Imagine starting each day feeling as if happiness is just beyond your reach, slipping through your fingers no matter how hard you try. Does life sometimes feel like it's passing you by, with your dreams lingering as unfulfilled aspirations and precious moments overshadowed by worries? Picture this. You're sitting in a beautiful park on a bright sunny day. The world around you is alive with joy, yet your thoughts are elsewhere, consumed by work stress or personal concerns. You're physically present, but mentally distant, unable to fully enjoy the moment. This experience is far more common than we realize. Many of us live our lives trapped in a cycle of distractions and anxieties, missing the simple beauty of the present. At OM Wisdom, we believe there's a way to break free from this cycle. Here, we explore profound yet accessible insights inspired by Buddhism to help you reconnect with your inner peace and transform your everyday experiences. In today's video, we'll embark on a journey to reclaim your happiness by embracing the power of living in the present moment. Central to Buddhist philosophy is the idea that true joy is often blocked by our preoccupation with the past or the future. We get so caught up in past regrets or future fears that we overlook the one thing that truly matters, the present moment, where life unfolds in its fullest. This moment, right here, right now, is where joy, peace, and contentment reside. Yet many of us are too distracted to notice it, leaving us with a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. Buddhism offers us a solution through the practice of mindfulness, a tool to bring our attention back to the present. Mindfulness teaches us to fully engage with the here and now, without judgment or distraction. It invites us to savor life as it is, whether it's the aroma of morning coffee, the warmth of a smile, or the calm of a deep breath. These simple moments can profoundly enhance our well-being. However, achieving mindfulness can be challenging in a world that constantly pulls us in different directions. Through practices like meditation, Buddhism helps quiet the mental chatter that keeps us stuck. Meditation trains us to observe our thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them, fostering clarity and inner peace. Additionally, the Buddhist principle of non-attachment reminds us that lasting happiness comes not from clinging to people, possessions, or outcomes, but from finding contentment within ourselves. In this series, we'll dive deeper into these transformative ideas and explore practical ways to integrate them into your daily life. Together, we'll learn how to let go of the weight of past regrets and future worries, allowing you to truly embrace the beauty of the present. Lesson 1. The illusion of eternal happiness. Imagine walking into a room bathed in bright, shimmering lights. At first, everything looks mesmerizing and perfect, drawing you in with its radiant beauty. The room feels magical, and you're completely captivated. But as you stay longer, something begins to change. The lights, once so dazzling, start to flicker, losing their glow. The magic fades, and you realize that what once seemed so enchanting is no longer as appealing. This is the exact way we chase after the idea of eternal happiness. We convince ourselves that happiness lies in obtaining something specific, a perfect job, an ideal relationship, or a beautiful home. We believe that once we have these things, happiness will be permanent, that we'll have reached the pinnacle of fulfillment. But just like the flickering lights in that room, this belief in eternal happiness is an illusion. In today's society, we're often taught that happiness is something external that can be earned or acquired. We see advertisements, social media posts, and hear countless stories about the rewards of having the perfect life, whether it's a luxurious vacation, the latest tech gadget, a shiny new car, or that dream home. These things are often portrayed as the keys to happiness, and many of us fall into the trap of believing that acquiring them will bring us lasting joy. However, what happens when the excitement of these possessions fades? The new car loses its luster, the vacation memories begin to fade, and the newest gadget soon becomes outdated. We are left chasing after the next thing that promises to bring us joy, but the cycle never ends. The happiness we feel from these external possessions is always fleeting, and soon we find ourselves right back where we started, looking for something else to fill the void. This constant search for happiness in external sources is exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling. Buddhism teaches us that happiness, when sought in material things or achievements, is a never-ending pursuit. Why? Because true happiness isn't found in things or experiences, it's found in the way we engage with the present moment and our inner understanding of ourselves. According to Buddhist philosophy, the root of our suffering is this very attachment to external conditions. We tend to place our happiness on things that are outside of our control, objects, achievements, and relationships that over time change or disappear. This attachment causes us to constantly seek new sources of happiness, but the cycle remains endless. Buddhism encourages us to look inward, to shift our focus from the external to the internal. It teaches that real, lasting happiness comes from cultivating a mind that is free from attachment and expectations. This means embracing the present moment, practicing gratitude, and understanding that happiness is not a destination, but a way of being. Living in the moment allows us to appreciate what we already have, instead of constantly chasing after something more. True contentment arises from understanding that everything in life is impermanent, including our desire for things to bring us lasting happiness. By letting go of the illusion of eternal happiness, we open ourselves up to a deeper, more fulfilling experience of life, one that is rooted in mindfulness, acceptance, and peace. So, the next time you find yourself reaching for that next big thing that promises happiness, pause and reflect. Ask yourself whether that thing will truly bring you lasting joy, or if, like the flickering lights, it will fade and leave you searching for the next. True happiness is not about the external world, it's about the way you choose to engage with it and the peace you find within. Lesson 2. Finding joy in simplicity. Have you ever noticed how the simplest things often bring the deepest joy? Think about a beautiful sunset, a warm cup of tea, or the feeling of a gentle breeze on your skin. These moments don't cost anything, require no elaborate preparation, and yet they fill us with a profound sense of happiness. In a world often obsessed with achievements and material wealth, it's easy to overlook the everyday blessings that can bring true contentment. In this lesson, we will explore how embracing the simple joys of life can lead to greater peace and fulfillment, drawing from Buddhist teachings. Imagine waking up early in the morning, the world still quiet and untouched by the rush of the day. As you step outside, the first rays of sunlight begin to touch the trees, making the leaves sparkle like gold. The air is fresh, and there's a sense of stillness around you. This simple moment of connection with nature can be incredibly uplifting, grounding you in the present. The beauty of moments like these is that you don't need anything grand or extravagant to experience them. True joy is not about seeking out something big or far away. It's about being present and appreciating the small, everyday wonders that surround us. We don't need to chase after possessions or status to feel fulfilled. Often, all it takes is a quiet moment of mindfulness to tap into the happiness that is already here. In Buddhism, simplicity is not just about living a minimalist lifestyle or renouncing all material possessions. Instead, it's about cultivating a mindset that finds satisfaction in the present moment, in the things that are already around us. It's about letting go of the constant need for more achievements, more possessions, more validation, and learning to appreciate what is. This practice of simplicity is more about fostering an inner attitude of calm and contentment, where we let go of mental clutter and embrace the peace that comes from being fully present in the here and now. When we stop chasing after endless goals and material success, we can begin to recognize the beauty in what is right in front of us. A walk in the park, the sound of birds singing, the warmth of a loved one's smile. These simple moments are often the most fulfilling because they connect us with life itself. In Buddhism, this practice is known as mindfulness, where we focus on the present moment with full attention and without judgment. By incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives, we begin to develop a deep sense of gratitude for the simplicity around us. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the complexities of life, we learn to embrace the beauty of the ordinary. And as we do so, we discover that true happiness does not lie in seeking more, but in savoring what we already have. In summary, the path to true joy and peace is not through acquiring more or striving for perfection, but through embracing the simple, everyday moments that are often overlooked. By practicing mindfulness and simplicity, we can experience a deeper sense of contentment and fulfillment, regardless of external circumstances. Lesson 3. Breaking free from attachments. Imagine a beautiful flower in a garden, its petals vibrant, delicate, and full of life. It draws you in with its beauty, inviting you to appreciate its existence. But if you hold on to that flower too tightly, if you try to grasp it with all your might, what happens? The petals will break, the stem will snap, and the flower will wither away. This is a powerful metaphor for how our attachments, whether to people, possessions, or even our own desires, can cause us suffering and prevent us from experiencing true happiness. In life, we often find ourselves clinging to things that we believe will bring us joy. It might be a new gadget, a dream job, a perfect relationship, or even a certain image of ourselves. We think that once we have these things, we will finally feel content and complete. But what if I told you that true contentment comes not from holding on, but from letting go? It may seem counterintuitive, even a little unsettling, but this is a central teaching in Buddhism, one that can transform the way we approach life. So what exactly are attachments? At their core, attachments are emotional bonds we form with people, things, or specific outcomes. They are our attempts to find happiness or fulfillment outside of ourselves. Attachments often arise when we believe that a particular person, object, or situation will give us the joy we crave. For example, you might be attached to the idea of getting a promotion at work. While this goal is not inherently bad, it is the attachment to the promotion, the belief that your happiness hinges on achieving it, that can cause suffering. In Buddhism, attachments are seen as the root of much of our suffering. Why? Because attachments are rooted in the desire for permanence. We want things, people, and circumstances to stay just as they are. But the nature of life is impermanence. Everything changes, and nothing lasts forever. When we cling too tightly to things, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration. We are living in constant fear of losing what we hold dear, and this fear only strengthens our attachment. Take a moment to reflect on your own attachments. What are you holding on to right now, thinking that it will bring you lasting happiness? Is it a possession, a goal, a relationship, or even a specific version of yourself? Recognizing your attachments is the first step towards freedom. Buddhism teaches that the key to breaking free from attachments is not to reject or renounce everything in our lives, but to cultivate a mindset of detachment, learning to appreciate things without clinging to them. This doesn't mean being indifferent or apathetic. Rather, it's about accepting that everything in life is temporary, and that true happiness comes from within, not from external sources. By letting go of our attachments, we create space for peace, freedom, and joy to flow naturally. True liberation comes when we no longer depend on anything outside ourselves for happiness. We learn to embrace the present moment, appreciating it fully, without the need to hold on to it. Just like the flower in the garden, we can learn to let things be, appreciating their beauty without trying to possess them. When we do this, we experience a deeper sense of inner peace, one that is not shaken by the changing tides of life. Letting go of attachments isn't always easy. It requires self-awareness, mindfulness, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty. But it is through this process that we open ourselves to the possibility of lasting happiness, one that is not dependent on anything external, but is grounded in the understanding of impermanence and the freedom of living in the present. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to live without the weight of attachments holding you back? What would it be like to experience life with an open heart, free from the need to control or possess? By learning to let go, we unlock the door to true freedom and profound happiness. Lesson 4. The art of mindful living. Have you ever found yourself rushing through life, caught up in the busyness of daily tasks, only to look back and realize how quickly time has passed? It's as if you've missed out on the richness of the moments that make up your life. But what if you could live each day with a sense of calm, presence, and purpose, where every moment felt meaningful? This is the essence of mindful living, an art that not only brings profound peace, but also helps us cultivate clarity in our often chaotic world. So, what exactly is mindful living? At its core, mindful living is the practice of being fully present in each moment. It means giving your undivided attention to what's happening right now, without letting your mind wander into the past or the future. It's like savoring each bite of a delicious meal, fully experiencing the flavors and textures, rather than eating mindlessly while distracted by your phone or thoughts about what's coming next. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to experience life more vividly. You start to notice the small, everyday wonders, the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of rain against the window, or the feel of a loved one's embrace. These simple joys, often overlooked in the rush of life, become sources of happiness and contentment when we are truly present with them. Why is mindfulness important? In our modern, fast-paced lives, we're often swept up in a whirlwind of thoughts, worries, and distractions. We might be consumed by plans for the future, regretful of past mistakes, or stressed about upcoming tasks. This constant mental chatter can leave us feeling disconnected from the present moment, from our own experiences, and even from the people around us. We may be physically present, but our minds are elsewhere, making us miss the richness of the here and now. Mindfulness is the antidote to this fragmentation of attention. It brings us back to the present, grounding us in the reality of the moment. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to slow down, to step out of the autopilot mode, and to engage fully with our surroundings. It's about shifting from mindless living to intentional living, where we focus on the now rather than getting lost in thoughts about what's past or what's to come. Buddhism teaches that suffering often arises when we are not fully aware of the present moment. When we are lost in our thoughts, we miss the beauty and peace that exist right in front of us. Mindfulness is a powerful tool to help us reconnect with life as it truly is, helping us to cultivate a sense of calm, acceptance, and gratitude. It allows us to appreciate the fleeting nature of each moment, knowing that this moment is all we truly have. So, how can you begin practicing mindful living? Start with small steps. Take a few moments each day to focus on your breath, to notice the sensations in your body, or to simply observe your surroundings without judgment or distraction. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you will find peace in the present moment, and the more you will experience the richness of life in its simplest form. In the next lesson, we will dive deeper into how mindfulness can transform not just your daily life, but your entire approach to happiness. Lesson 5. Overcoming the desires that bind us. Imagine yourself in a beautiful garden surrounded by fragrant flowers, vibrant colors, and a peaceful atmosphere. The garden is perfect, a place of serenity and abundance. Yet, there's one catch. A large, heavy stone is chained to your ankle, dragging behind you as you walk. No matter how beautiful the garden is, that stone makes it difficult for you to truly enjoy the beauty around you. It becomes a constant weight, limiting your freedom and your ability to fully embrace the joy the garden has to offer. This stone represents our desires, the cravings and attachments we believe we need in order to be happy. In our lives, we often chase after material things, status, or achievements, thinking that they will bring us lasting fulfillment. We may desire the latest gadgets, more money, a better job, or the approval of others. Yet no matter how much we acquire, it often feels like it's never enough. We continue to feel empty, as if the next thing will finally complete us, but it rarely does. Buddhism teaches us that these desires, or cravings, are like that heavy stone. They weigh us down, preventing us from experiencing true contentment. We spend our lives in pursuit of things we think will bring happiness, but the more we acquire, the more we realize that satisfaction remains elusive. It's as if we're stuck in an endless cycle of wanting and never fully feeling at peace. But what if I told you that by understanding and overcoming these desires, you could free yourself from the heavy stone and experience the true joy of living? This may sound counterintuitive. After all, we've been taught that achieving our desires is the key to happiness. However, Buddhism encourages us to shift our perspective. By letting go of the need to constantly satisfy our cravings, we can begin to uncover a deeper, more lasting sense of contentment. The first step is recognizing that our desires are often not about true happiness, but about seeking external validation or fleeting pleasures. These desires are rooted in our attachment to the idea that more will make us whole. In reality, however, happiness is not something we can acquire. It is something that arises from within when we are free from the constant pull of desire. By practicing mindfulness and cultivating awareness, we begin to understand that the things we crave do not define us. Instead of focusing on what we want, we can focus on what we already have, the present moment, the simple joys of life, and the peace that comes from letting go of the need for more. This doesn't mean we have to reject all desires, but it means not letting them control us. When we stop seeking happiness through external means, we become open to the joy and contentment that already exist within us. In the end, overcoming desires is not about renouncing all enjoyment or possessions. It's about finding freedom from the constant yearning that keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction. By understanding the nature of our desires, we can begin to live with more peace, more presence, and more genuine happiness. Just like lifting that heavy stone, when we let go of what binds us, we can finally experience the fullness of life in its simplest, most profound form. Lesson 6. Embracing change and impermanence. Life is like a river, always flowing, constantly shifting, and never the same from one moment to the next. Just as a river changes its course, its shape, and its flow with every twist and turn, our lives are also in a state of constant flux. We experience shifts in our emotions, relationships, and circumstances. One moment we feel on top of the world, and the next we may feel uncertain or unsettled. Understanding and accepting this truth is key to finding peace and happiness. Imagine you're holding a delicate flower in your hand. At first, it's vibrant, full of life and color. But as time passes, the flower begins to wilt and fade. The petals lose their brilliance, and the once fresh fragrance disappears. This change is completely natural, a part of the flower's life cycle. Instead of clinging to the flower's initial beauty, we can learn to appreciate it for the moment it is in, knowing that its fleeting nature makes it all the more precious. In the same way, everything in our lives, our experiences, our emotions, our relationships, is subject to change. Perhaps you've noticed that when things don't go as planned, it can feel overwhelming, even as though the world is coming to an end. You might feel defeated, frustrated, or sad. But in reality, these moments of loss or disappointment are just part of the flow of life. Change is inevitable, and while it may bring discomfort or sadness in the short term, it is also an opportunity for growth and renewal. Buddhism teaches that suffering often arises when we resist change, when we cling to the way things should be or the way they once were. We become attached to fixed ideas and expectations, and when things inevitably change, we struggle to accept it. This attachment to permanence can cause us unnecessary pain. But if we can embrace the impermanence of life, we free ourselves from this cycle of clinging and resistance. Rather than fearing change or resisting the flow of life, Buddhism encourages us to approach it with mindfulness and acceptance. By acknowledging that everything is temporary, we can begin to live more fully in the present moment. Each passing moment becomes an opportunity to appreciate the beauty of what is, knowing that it will change, and that change is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Embracing impermanence allows us to live with a greater sense of peace, knowing that no matter what happens, the river of life will continue to flow, carrying us forward into new experiences and possibilities. Instead of wishing things would stay the same, we learn to appreciate them as they are, knowing that change is not the end, but a necessary part of the journey. Lesson 7. Cultivating compassion and kindness. At the heart of every human being lies a seed of compassion, waiting to blossom and grow. Imagine this. You're walking through a crowded street, caught up in the hustle and bustle of the day, when you notice someone struggling with heavy bags. Without hesitation, you rush over to help them. As they smile at you in gratitude, and as you feel the warmth in your heart from the simple act of kindness, a moment of genuine connection is created. This act of compassion uplifts not only the person you helped, but also brings a sense of joy and fulfillment to yourself. Compassion and kindness are like sunshine that nourishes the flowers of happiness within us. They have the power to lift our spirits and create a ripple effect of goodwill. In Buddhism, compassion is not merely a feeling or a passive state of mind. It's an active practice, an intention to care for others and to alleviate their suffering in whatever way we can. But this doesn't mean you need to perform grand or heroic gestures. Compassion doesn't always require moving mountains or changing the world overnight. Sometimes, it's the small, everyday acts of kindness that make the biggest difference. Think of a story of a humble monk who, despite having little to his name, always offered a portion of his meal to anyone in need. He didn't have much, but he understood that even the smallest offering could bring comfort to someone else. The monk's simple, compassionate actions became a beacon of kindness for those around him. In our modern, busy lives, we often overlook these small gestures. We think that kindness requires something extraordinary, but the truth is that every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the potential to make a meaningful impact. Whether it's offering a helping hand, listening to someone with genuine attention, or sharing a smile with a stranger, each act nurtures compassion within us and contributes to the collective well-being of others. Through practicing compassion and kindness, we begin to open our hearts and minds to the suffering and joys of those around us. And in turn, we find that our own hearts are lighter, our connections deeper, and our lives richer. Cultivating compassion doesn't just transform others, it transforms us. As we reflect on the lessons of Buddhism and their timeless wisdom, we begin to see that true happiness is not something we can chase or acquire through external means. It is not found in the things we possess or the achievements we attain, but in the way we choose to live, to engage with the world, and to cultivate inner peace. From recognizing the illusion of eternal happiness, to embracing the simplicity of the present moment, to breaking free from attachments, and understanding the power of mindfulness, each step on this path brings us closer to the joy and fulfillment that already lie within us. As we learn to navigate the changing currents of life with acceptance, to overcome desires that bind us, and to act with compassion and kindness, we transform not only ourselves, but the world around us. These teachings invite us to see that happiness is not a destination, but a way of being, an ongoing practice of presence, understanding, and love. If you're ready to begin this journey toward deeper peace and true happiness, be sure to follow OM Wisdom for more insights and guidance on living a mindful and fulfilling life. Stay with us as we explore more ways to awaken your inner wisdom and unlock the joy within.